Shalom. I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Ha, Rakah, Kodash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me this truth. Also want to acknowledge all the Akim who are pushing this truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth, alright? So, the Spirit has me today in Isaiah 11. And I'm going to start at the top. It says, "And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots." Alright, so this is talking about Yahweh Shai, because Jesse was King David's father. So we'll go to Matthew 1 to read that, and we'll go to verse 6. It says, this gives you, in Matthew chapter 1, the first chapter, it gives you the genealogy of Yahweh Shai. Alright? So we jump to 6 because it mentioned the branch out of Jesse in Isaiah 11. So it says, "And Jesse begat David the king, and David the king begat Solomon of her that had been wife of Urias." Alright? So not only we know that Solomon and Yahweh Shai are the same soul, the same spirit, reincarnated. So that's, that's that root as Solomon, who is Yahweh Shai, okay? And if you have the spirit to believe that, that's only if Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai has opened you to have that spirit to receive that truth, okay? So I'm going to go back to Isaiah 11 and verse 2. "And the spirit of Yahweh shall rest upon him, the spirit of wisdom and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge and of the fear of Yahweh." Okay, so that's the spirit that Yahweh Shai had. He had the spirit of Yahweh on him, right? And that's why we, in the order, it's Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, the man, and then the women. All right, so you, as the man, you have to have that same spirit as Yahweh Shai. That's what we're trying to follow our big brother Yahweh Shai. You see, by his examples. All right. So we're at verse 3. "And ye shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of Yahweh, and he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears." See, so oops, I like that. But let me read that again. So it says that Yahweh Shai, he's not going to judge after the sight of his own eyes or his own ears, right? Why? Because he goes by the rules of Yahweh Bashem, of Yahweh. Yahweh Shai didn't make the rule book, you see? No, he just went according to the rule book in perfection, you see? Because he was in the flesh, he had that burden like we have that burden, is the flesh. Because remember, the soul and the spirit, the spirit can endure. It's the flesh that makes everything hard. See? So verse 3, "And shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of Yahweh." Alright, so that's how we got to be. For one, you don't want to tarry, meaning you don't want to wait on serving the Lord. Alright? When you're presented this truth, if you're part of that elect, you basically cleave to it right away, and it becomes your priority. So that's what Yahweh Shai did, right? He was quick of understanding in the fear of Yahweh. So we have to seek Yahweh early. You don't want to be say, oh, you know what? I'll start serving him when things really start going bad for me. Until then, I'm just gonna do my own thing. See, that's the wrong mindset. So we'll go to Proverbs 8 and 17. It says, "I love them that love me, and those that seek me early shall find me." So you see, we have to seek Yahweh early, meaning before Yahweh Shai comes back. You see? You don't want to wait till the day Yahweh Shai comes back, and then that's when he says he's not gonna answer. You call and he's not gonna answer. Well, let's get that verse real quick. Let me see. Let me see. Wow, you know what? Yeah, this is the one a good one popped up, but I'm looking for Matthew 24:5. All right, let's read that. Matthew 24:5. You don't want to wait till the last day. Tarry, put this truth off. This is verse 5. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Yahweh Shai, and shall deceive many. See? And that's not the one I was looking for. Salakia. Let me see. Maybe Salakia, that wasn't the one I wanted. The Spirit wanted to bring it out, though. So this is Jeremiah 1. No, this ain't it either, is it? Nope. Let's see. Hold on. Salakia. Let me see. Let's go to Matthew 7. Try that one out. Matthew 7 and 22. It says, Many will say to me in that day, Yahweh Shai, have we not prophesied in thy name, and in thy name have cast out devils, in thy name done many wonderful works? And then will I profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. See? So Yahweh Shai is going to say, there's going to be a lot of people even the ones who know his name are going to be calling on him. But they put this thing off. They knew the names, and they didn't do the work, or they knew the names, or you could be like Nathaniel in IUIC. He knows the name, but he don't teach the name. See? So let me go back to Isaiah 11 and where am I at? 11 and 3. So we seek Yahweh Shai early. We seek Yahweh Bashem Yahushai early, right? Before the destruction, before the return, before Yahweh Shai comes back with the sword. Isaiah 11 and 3, or I'm sorry, 4, says, But with righteousness shall he judge the poor. Who's the poor? The Israelites, all right? And reprove the equity for the meek of the earth. Who's the meek? The Israelites. The meek is being in subjection to something. If you're meek, you're in subjection to it. The Israelites were in subjection to this truth, to this understanding that we're getting through the Holy Spirit. So that makes us meek, easily imposed on. All right, it does. You don't, like I used to always say, you don't have to bend our arm backwards for us to understand and believe and know this truth. All right, let me see. Where am I at? He shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. All right, so right now, what's the rod of his mouth? Let's get it in Luke 1:70. As he spake by the mouth of his holy prophets, which have been since the world began. All right, so his mouth are his holy prophets. All right, so that's how Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai he's smiting the earth with the rod of his mouth, right? Because why? The prophets are on the scene, prophesying against Babylon America. So let's go back to Isaiah 4. The prophets are an omen to Babylon, all right, America. And an omen means a sign. It could be a good omen or a bad omen, but we happen to be a bad omen for America. When the prophets are on the scene, hey, Yahweh always he has mercy by sending prophets. You see? He sends his prophets out before he destroys. That's what he did with Lot. Before he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, he sent out his angels to Lot, right? And they prophesied. Did they not prophesy? They told him, we're gonna destroy this city. You need to leave. So what did he do? They were speaking ahead of time of what they were going to do. Those angels who were men. And we knew they were men because, why? Because those wicked men of Sodom and Gomorrah were trying to rape them, But what were those men? What was their message? And that's what angel means, messenger. Their message was they were going to destroy the city. So we're an omen. The brothers out there prophesying, we're a bad omen to America, which is a sign of something to come. All right, so let me go back to verse 4. It says, and he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. And that's what it is. We're the mouth. We're slaying the wicked just with our words. Why? Because we're telling them you're going to go into slavery. You are the wicked from the Bible, right? So that's Yahweh doing that. He's the one put the spirit on us to do this. I can't explain it. I can't. You think it's just me and my will just to get up to go to camp every week and go prophesy in the streets and tell the so-called white man that he's going to be slayed by Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai? So this is Yahweh. Only Yahweh could put the spirit on men to do this. You see, it's not even our own will, right? Well, let me see. Let me get this real quick, just to prove this. Yep. Okay, yeah. And staying in Isaiah for this one. Isaiah, because this is not my doing. Remember, a man's goings are of the Lord. The Lord has us out there prophesying. Well, let's get that real quick before I get Isaiah. Let's get, what is it? Psalms 24? No, Psalms. Shoot, I always forget which one this is. Let me just get it. Let's see. Salakia. I always forget this one. Or maybe Proverbs. Amen. Goings. Proverbs 20 and 24. Alright. I don't know how I always forget that one. Proverbs 20. Oh, I'm in Psalms. That's why. Proverbs 20 and 24. Man's goings are of Yahweh. How can a man then understand his own way? See, we can't understand our own way. It's Yahweh that directs us. Alright? He's the one who's made us his mouth. Alright? He's the one who uses his breath of his lips, which are his mouth, to slay the wicked, like we read in Isaiah. Alright? So now I'm going to get Isaiah, because this is a good one. It's more towards the end of the verse. But the beginning of the verse is heavy, because it talks about how not even the missiles can affect the men of Yahweh, the servants of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. This is Isaiah 54:17. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. So that's heavy, because you got to think you're not even a nuclear missile. Because why? Because we're going to go up into the chariots, right, during the nuclear World War III, all right? It says, no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. See, so whenever people rise against us, we're condemning them by what? By the spirit of the truth, by the scriptures. So let me read that again. And every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of Yahweh, and their righteousness is of me, saith Yahweh. See, so our righteousness, for us to go out and do this, because it's a righteous thing to go out there and prophesy and smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, is we're his mouth, right? And to slay the wicked with our words. You see, this is a heritage. Why? Because only Israelites can do it. The ones you're calling blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans are the only ones who Yahweh's putting the spirit on them to do this. This is a heritage, Like if you say, oh, it's in the heritage of the so-called Mexicans, it's their heritage to make beans and tortillas. You see, the same thing. Prophesying is in the heritage of the Israelites. You see, that's our heritage and our right, and our righteousness is of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, not of ourselves. Okay, that's how you know it's not us who's got us doing this. It's Yahweh that has us doing this. All right, so I'm gonna go back to Isaiah 11:5. And righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and faithfulness the girdle of his reins. Alright, so that's a characteristic of the prophets. And then this is when this is talking about in the kingdom. Alright, this shows you that the Jewish, the Israelis, those are not the true people of Yahweh, because none of this is happening. Because when all of this stuff is executed to fulfill prophecy, meaning the chariots, the missiles, the war, the World War III fought with nuclear missiles. See, this is what's going to happen when everything is restored. That's what we're going into, all right? This shows you that those Jewish people, Israelis, are nothing but a fraud, okay? Verse 6, the wolf also shall dwell with the lamb. Wolves don't dwell with lambs, all right? It's not happening. And the leopard shall lie down with the kid, all right? And the leopard, is not lying down with a kid, which would be a small goat, And the calf and the young lion and the fatling together. And the little child shall lead them. See? You don't have little children can't walk like a little infant, go walk in front of a lion. That's not happening. Why? Because the children of Israel, the true children of Israel, are not in our land. All right? That's a fraud Edomite, Starts out with Amalek. Those Amalekites were those who are the ones that call themselves Jews right now, right? They're the Jewish Israelis. They are the biggest case of identity theft the world has ever known. All right, because they took the identity of the true people of Yahweh. All right, which are the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, verse 7. And the cow and the bear shall feed, and their young ones shall lie down together. So you don't see cows and bears feeding together. You don't see little cubs and little calves, just lying down next to each other. And the lion shall eat straw like the ox. Do lions eat straw? No, lions are meat-eating carnivorous animals. All right, and they'll maul your ass. If the Lord puts a spirit on the lion to maul you, he will. He's going to eat meat. He doesn't eat straw like the ox right now. Verse 8. And the suckling child shall play on the hole of the asp. So that's talking about a little baby who's still being nursed by his mother is going to play by the asp, the hole of the asp, which an asp is a snake. All right. And the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice den. Right. See, so the kid who just got off the titty or just got off being nursed, he's over there with his hand on the cockatrice den. And the cockatrice is another type of snake. Right? None of these things are happening, but this is what's supposed to be happening if the true people were in the land of Israel. Shows you that they are not the true people because none of this is happening. All right, verse 9. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of knowledge of Yahweh as the waters cover the sea. All right, so that's not happening either. Meaning hurt nor destroy, meaning there won't be no war on the holy mountain of Israel, right? Which is a government, right? Mountain is a metaphor for government, right? This is the holy government, our people, right? And knowledge will be full. The earth will be full of knowledge. The earth's not full of this knowledge. Only 1/3 of our people and only the prophets have this knowledge, before what we're reading. But in this day, it's going to be the whole earth. It's not going to be just the prophets. Everyone's going to know the laws. Everyone's going to know the statutes. Everyone's going to know the commandments. All right? Verse 10. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and rest shall be glorious. All right? So we're going to get our rest finally. Right? And what Gentiles? Because we know you so-called white people hear that word Gentiles and you think you done snuck in heaven, No. Yes, you'll be in heaven, but you're going to be a slave, all right? You're going to be, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity, all right? As the scriptures as it is written, okay? So these Gentiles right here is talking about Israelites, okay? And let me get a couple of verses just so you don't get it twisted, all right? This is 1 Corinthians 12, and I'm going to start at 1. It says, Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. Ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led. So when you look at the first verse that says brethren, who are the brethren? The brethren, Paul's brethren were the Israelites, okay? And it says, you know that you were Gentiles carried away into these dumb idols. So that shows you that the brethren who are the Israelites, we are the Gentiles that the scriptures are talking about, that in these verses. All right, we are the Gentiles. We got carried away to idolatry. Whether it was the Babylonian captivity, whether it was Egyptian captivity, whether it was, the word Gentile means stranger. When you are following any other doctrine aside from Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, you become a stranger, which is, and hence the word Gentile. All right, you're a Gentile. Right now, the majority of the world is a Gentile. All right, meaning a stranger to the power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Even the brothers who are in this truth now, before we came into the fold, we were Gentiles. So So we were strangers, but now you're not a stranger. When you know Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, you become, when you know somebody, somebody introduces you to somebody, now all of a sudden you're not a stranger. You say, oh, I know that person. Well, see, we've been introduced to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai by our elders, all right? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, we were introduced, and now we're not strangers. Because why? We're here in this truth, in this knowledge, prophesying, fulfilling prophecy, and we are literally, now we can say we're not Gentiles anymore. So let me get you the account when our people started becoming Gentiles. Well, this is not the only account, but this is one account of our people becoming Gentiles. All right. First Maccabees, I'm going to read 1 and 11 first, because this is when we basically became Gentiles, and you became a Gentile under the spirit of that Edomite, right? Because Maccabees was during the time of the Greeks, which are Edomites. So First Maccabees 1:11, it says, in those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. All right. So wicked men, when you make a covenant with a heathen, the Bible calls you a wicked man. All right. And remember, heathen means nations. And this nation that's talking about in verse 11 is Greece. All right. So you're wicked if you make a covenant with the heathen. What does Jeremiah 1 and 10 say? I'm sorry. Jeremiah 10 and 1, rather. Verse 2, actually. Jeremiah 10 and 2. Thus saith Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen. See? I could stop right there, but I'll read the rest. And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. So it tells you right there, don't learn the way of the heathen. But what of our people did? They were wicked in 1 Maccabees 1:11, and in those days there out of Israel wicked men, there came out of it. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. All right. So when we, and our people are still in that spirit, you got, they use, because Esau uses celebrities like Shaq and Jay-Z and whatever, Kanye, to let you follow in the ways of the heathen. Because I've been hearing a lot of stories with Shaquille O'Neal, Shaq, talking bad about Kyrie Irving because he won't take the hokey pokey, saying, hey, you need to sacrifice for the team, And what team is he sacrificing for? Esau's team, Esau, and that's what Shaq, that's what he's doing. He's in a wicked man, and that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to persuade Kyrie Irving. I'll use that example because he's the one trying to persuade him to make a covenant with the heathen, saying, hey, go get that hokey pokey, sacrifice for the team. See, you don't want to be in that spirit. Verse 12. So this device pleased them well. See, goes on to talk about how we started getting licenses to do. Well, let me read it. Then, verse 13, then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. See? So this is what they're coming into again with their draconian laws that they're setting. They're telling you that, hey, if you get this hokey pokey, you're going to get a little card, right, that shows your proof that you took the hokey pokey, So that's a license after a heathen ordinance. So nothing new under the sun. They're doing the same thing, you see. And those wicked men are out of Israel. Those spirits are regenerated, So they're right there telling you, hey, go get that thing, And Esau's crafty, so he uses our people to get our people to do wickedness, see. Because you're not going to listen if it's just creepy, sleepy Joe Biden to tell you to go get the hokey pokey. He knows he's got to get Shaq on his team. He's got to get Kanye on his team. He's got to get, any Jake that he has promoting his wickedness, So let me go back to Isaiah. My shoulder hurts, man. Let's see, Isaiah 11. Oops, 11 and 10. Oh, you know what? I had more to read. Salakia. Let me go back to that Maccabees. Because remember, I'm telling you about who the Gentiles are. We became Gentiles. When you're acting like Shaq, you're a Gentile, alright? When you come into this truth, come into this fold, come into the truth, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Spirit, well, hey, then that's different. You're not a Gentile anymore. Okay? So first Maccabees 1, and I'm gonna go at 42, start there. It says, let's start at 41. Moreover, this is talking about the Greek king, which spiritually we think that Sleepy Creepy Joe could be Antiochus Epiphanes back in the flesh, because the spirits are always coming back in the same characteristics. So the point I'm saying, I'm not saying that Sleepy Creepy Joe is Antiochus Epiphanes in the reincarnation, but I'm saying he has the same characteristics. Okay, so this is First Maccabees 1 and 41. It says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. Right. That's what America does, right? They're trying to make all one people. They want that new world order, that one world government, right? And what does that imply? That implies that you need to take their CHIP here in the very near future, all right? But right now, it's his hokey pokey he's having you take, all right? So it says in verse 42, and everyone should leave his laws, so all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king, all right? So the heathen are always going to march to the beat of Esau's drum, all right? But the men of the Lord, who the Yahweh Bashem Yashai has reserved, are not going to go according to the ways of the heathen, like we've been reading, all right? Verse 43, it says, yeah, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. Verse 44, for the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and to the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land. See, strange laws are any laws that were not given to you by your father Yahweh. All right. So if Yahweh didn't give us the law, then we're not with it. See, these are strange laws. Okay, getting a hokey pokey, that's a strange law. All right, getting a CHIP. All right, that's a strange law. But I'm showing you in Maccabees that our people did this during the time of the Greeks, and this is when they became Gentiles, meaning because they were following the laws and the commandments of men, that they ended up, they ended up becoming Gentiles. All right. When you follow the laws and the ways and the customs of the heathen, you're a Gentile. I'm gonna keep reading though. Where we at? So that's that history. Some of the history. One example of our people becoming Gentiles. All right, and I brought it out in Corinthians how we were carried away. Well, let's get it again since we just just make the point again. Ye know that ye were, 1 Corinthians 12:2. Ye know that ye were Gentiles carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led. And remember, he was talking to the brethren right there. So that shows you Gentiles is referring to Israelites, okay? Now we go back to Isaiah 11. Where am I at? Verse 11. And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh shall set his hand again the second time. All right. Well, that's a key word right there. The second time. All right. This is not talking about us coming out of ancient Egypt. This is talking about us coming out of spiritual Egypt. all right, which is Babylon, America. It says that Yahweh shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from, because we're in all nations, all right? From Egypt, from Pathros, from Cush, from Elam, from Shinar, from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea, all right? And now let's get Deuteronomy so you can get some understanding on this verse. Why are we coming out of all those different nations? Why? Because we've been scattered. It says, Deuteronomy 30:3. Then Yahweh thy power will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither Yahweh thy power hath scattered thee. All right. So we're gonna get gathered from every single nation. All right, because that prophecy already been fulfilled. That the Israelites were driven and scattered to all the nations. Meaning you have so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans in every single nation, even today, okay? Even unto this day, all right? So let's go back to Isaiah 11 and 12. It says, and he shall set up an ensign for the nations and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, right? Because if you're one of those Gentiles, is another word for outcast, right? You're a stranger, right? But when you come into the fold, you're no longer a stranger, all right? So Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, in that day, even the outcasts of Israel, even the 2/3, you're going to be gathered, okay? You're going to be destroyed if you're a 2/3 first. But in that day, hey, the outcast, well, and actually this outcast Salakia is referring to the 1/3, all right? Because it's the 1/3 who's an outcast right now, but when they come into the fold through the prophets, through the mouth of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, then that's what's going to have them gathered and dispersed of Judah and from the four corners of the earth, all right? Let me read it again. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. And the envy also of Ephraim shall depart. So you got to know this is talking about northern kingdom, okay? Because Ephraim is the head tribe of northern kingdom. So this is telling you that the envy of northern kingdom, which are the so-called Latin, Native American, Hispanic tribes, right, shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. All right, so meaning northern and southern kingdom, because Judah, when you see Judah, it's talking about Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, the southern kingdom, who are collectively they're referred to as Judah in this verse. All right, this is talking about northern and southern kingdom. Okay, so verse 14. But they shall fly upon the shoulders of the Philistines toward the west, which those are the Africans, the Hamites. They shall spoil them of the east together, and they shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab. All right, and Edom is the so-called white man, and Moab is the so-called Chinese. All right, and the children of Ammon shall obey them. All right, the children of Ammon would be the Japanese. Okay, so you have all these nations are going to be in subjection under the Israelites when everything is restored in its proper order. Okay. So now on verse 15, and Yahweh shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptian sea, and with his mighty wind shall he shake his hand over the river, and shall it smite in the 7 streams, and the men go over dry shod. And remember, this is talking about more of spiritual Egypt, because we read it. It says the second time he's going to recover from Egypt, okay, which is spiritually Egypt, America, okay. And now, well, you know what? Let me just get it, because you always have that one person who this is their first time seeing the videos and they don't know what spiritual Egypt is. Okay? It says, Revelation 11:8, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which is America, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Hamashiach was crucified. All right? So spiritual Egypt. Just got to get it for those first time listeners. They're sitting there like, what's spiritual Egypt? Spiritual Egypt is Babylon, America. Okay. So we go to Isaiah 11 and verse 16. It says, "And there shall be an highway for the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, like as it was to Israel in the day he came out of the land of Egypt." Okay, see? So it's not talking about when we first came out of Egypt, the exodus out of Egypt. No, it's talking about the second, like we read in verse 11, right? Let's get it again. "And it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people." All right. And so we go back down here. "And there shall be a highway for the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, like as it was to Israel in the day that he came out of the land of Egypt." Okay, so we're coming out of spiritual Egypt this time. All right, and he says, "There shall be an highway for the remnant." Right. So what's the remnant? The word remnant means remaining. Right. So we're talking about the 1/3, the prophets, the elect. Okay, so how are we gonna? What is that highway? The highway is going to be the chariots. That's going to be what delivers us out of the destruction, right? Out of the World War III nuclear war, right? The war is going to be fought with nuclear missiles. So what's going to be the highway, and what's going to be our salvation? Let's get it. Isaiah 26 and 20. Let's see, it says, this is talking about us going up into the chamber of the so-called UFO, chariot, what you would call a UFO, the scriptures calls chariot, right? So this is talking about us in those chariots. Isaiah 26:20. "Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee." What chamber? You're going to enter into the chamber of that chariot, okay? "And shut the doors about thee." So the doors are going to shut on those chariots, just like they shut during the flood on the ark, right? Noah shut Yahweh shut the door on the ark. Well, guess what? He's going to shut the doors on the chariots too. Noah and 7 other people were the elect of that day, okay? And now you have the remnant, the prophets, the elect. We're going to go up into those chambers, shut the doors, and it says, "Hide thyself as it were for a little moment, until the indignation be overpassed." All right. So the indignation of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So the destruction, the indignation is righteous hatred. Yahweh is going to destroy this place, by the hand of his son Yahweh Shai. All right, and the angels and the missiles, they're all going to play a part. Okay, so we are going to go into those chambers, close the doors, and we're going to hide ourselves for a little moment until the indignation of Yahweh is overpassed. All right, which is the destruction. So with that, I want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai Bahashem Ha Rakah Kodash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me this truth. Also want to acknowledge all the Akim who are pushing this truth with sincerity throughout the 4 corners of the earth. Shalom to the elect. Let's see.